What's up, guys? I'm DK Wrestler, and today you're about to watch a Funko Popcast, a podcast where I released the first episode back in February of 2019. And here we are on December 27th, 2024, as we are going to be having our final episode. Whether this is the first episode you're viewing because you're most likely here for one individual guest that's on this podcast, if you viewed this perhaps since that first episode back in 2019, or somewhere in between, I want to thank each and every single one of you that have tuned in to a Funko Popcast throughout the last 6 years. It has been one heck of a ride, and now we're going to have a great finale with three special guests, which take the time to view all the guests that were featured because all three of these guests were absolutely amazing to have. But nonetheless, let's begin this final podcast. All right, so the very first guest on this podcast has over 22,000 followers on Instagram. He's pushing 450,000 subscribers on YouTube, has over 1 million followers on TikTok. He can be a professional Funko Pop juggler. He's known for doing amazing charity shows for the Ed Asner Family Center. Some people know him as CJ, but everybody knows him as Sidekick Ink. Welcome to a Funko Popcast. Thanks for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
A couple of reasons I definitely wanted to have you on the podcast was first, we wanted a new guest on the pod, and then also the fact that originally I didn't actually get the chance to meet you when you were actually in, I guess I would say, mine and Tristan's neck of the woods at Niagara Falls Comic Con. I was supposed to go, and then I got asked to do a wrestling tour around that time, and then I'm like, oh, like I got the chance to wrestle in Manitoba for the first time, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this
Oh, nice.
opportunity. My only regret though was like, I don't get to meet Sidekick Ink. So I don't know if you mentioned it in some videos about your experience there, but how did you enjoy Niagara Falls Comic Con? And is there a chance you're going next year in 2025?
I really enjoyed it. I really did. I really knew nothing about Niagara Falls as like the city. And
Mhm.
I joke with friends and I tell my wife this too. They say, "How was Niagara Falls?" Or "How was Canada?" I say, "Well, I made it all but like 3 miles into the country because you cross the border. My hotel was right there at Clifton Hill, and then the convention
Mm.
center is like a mile away." And I was like, "Yeah, I made it 2 miles into the country, and that's all I saw." I mean, for what I saw, I liked it. The convention was fun. It was a blast. There's so many people there that I'm friends with, obviously, like Slapshot Pops and Funko News Canada and Tristan and everybody that I got to see. And I'm definitely planning on coming back. So that would be really fun.
It almost seems like because there's been a lot of like Funko content creators that are like coming to Niagara Falls Comic Con. It almost seems like if we think about Funko Pop Comic Con exclusives and how there's normally like the big three, it seems like Niagara Falls Comic Con is on its way of taking that third spot there because of course Tristan's got his booth every year.
Yeah.
K-Dog and Fish are usually there. They had a booth I think a couple of years ago. I don't think they had it last year or this year I should say. And then of course Slapshot, I got to meet John and Joanna last year when I was there. I feel like we need the stamp of approval if we can get people like, let's say, like Mason from whatsPOPincraze to just fly from
Mm-hmm.
Utah to Niagara Falls Comic Con, get a huge group of people over, and then yeah, that would be definitely a great time having all of us Funko content creators.
I was talking to Mason, and I think he was actually considering it last year, and I think the plans just fell through, so he wasn't able to make it. But I think that I agree. I think it'd be really awesome. It's a great little city. It's a nice little tourist city. Again, I didn't know
Mhm.
anything about Niagara Falls, so I didn't realize how much there was to do, like in that shopping and dining area. It was really nice, and obviously seeing the waterfalls was just gorgeous.
Yeah, if you're viewing this, Mason, this is a sign you need to come to Niagara Falls Comic Con in 2025. We'll start off with, like, I guess I'll say the cliche beginning question of like every podcast, but it was also a question sent in from Funko Frank YT, and he asked, what made you start collecting pops?
Uncle Frank, I'm familiar. He's a subscriber. If I want to really go all the way back, I've been collecting stuff my whole life. I feel like a lot of us collectors have probably been doing that. I had a playing card collection as a kid. I had a Zippo lighter collection when I was a little older. I had a belt buckle collection that was passed down from my grandfather, who was like a mailman. I think it was 2015 though. I had seen Funko Pops around Target and Hot Topic and stuff like that. Never really cared for them, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't get it. I had never been into toy collecting or figure collecting. I was more into collecting other types of things. But I saw the Dancing Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy and something about how I think 2015 was the year they broke the mold. It was when Funko really got away from the stocky standard mold where everything looked the same,
Mhm.
and that's when they started getting really creative with things, completely abnormal from the breaks the mold in every way possible with the Funko mold. He's got the pot, he's dancing. We all know the post-credit scene was funny, and he's a bobblehead too. And I was like, this will be great on my desk. Next time you're at the mall, I'm gonna go look at those Funko Pop things again, see if there's any more that I like. And of course, I got a Batman, and I had to get a Spider-Man, I had to get a Hulk, I had to get a Wolverine. That's kind of how it started.
What made you decide to be a content creator?
Oh, that was an accident. I've been same way, just like I've been collecting my whole life. I've kind of been having a video camera or like camcorder in my hand my whole life. When I was a kid, I had like an actual camera, like camcorder, like on a tape cassette type of camcorder, and I would film skits with one of my best friends who was my next door neighbor growing up. I would have to edit in the camera by like stop record and then start and stuff like that. 2007, I was a YouTube junkie and I would just watch content creators all the time, and I even had a channel of myself that amassed all of 43 followers back in 2007. But during the pandemic, I was trying to push my artwork. Obviously, the ink in Sidekick Ink alludes to the fact that I was drawing, different designs, and I was selling stickers online. And to promote that, I got on TikTok thinking I can draw fun designs and post it on TikTok. And every time I post a video that I spent 5 or 6 hours drawing, I get comments saying, "Hey, will you show us the Funko Pops in the background?" So I started posting videos of the Funko Pops, and in 2021, I went from having like 29 subscribe or like TikTok followers to then having 20,000 and then having 40,000. And then when I really started like pushing into the Funko content, it was really popular at the time. I went from 100,000 to a million by December of 2021. And it just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't something I ever planned on doing. But once you figure something out like that and it becomes a hobby and then it becomes something fun and then you start getting like other opportunities, I figured I would, try and take that opportunity and continue it. You know what I mean?
You have the TikTok and you also have the YouTube. Which one do you prefer out of the two? Because, of course, you got huge on TikTok, eventually moved a lot of the stuff to YouTube, especially when they opened up shorts instead
Yeah.
of just the long form content. Is there a preference or do you like both of them equally?
This is funny. It just got announced like yesterday that TikTok is officially being like banned in the US, like come January. And I wasn't phased by that because I don't have a good, healthy relationship with TikTok anymore. I know I have a lot of followers, but my videos don't get properly distributed to my followers. It seems like they prioritize new viewership, and I must have maxed out every Funko collector on the app or something because I don't really have a lot of reach on there anymore. But YouTube is great. What people don't understand, or maybe you understand this, but what some people don't understand is I really enjoy making short form content. So the YouTube shorts is my bread and butter. My subscriber base watches my shorts. My viewers watch my shorts. My commenters watch my shorts. Like a huge, huge chunk of my subscriber base is watching my shorts, and that's great. Every single time I post a short, it performs well. The long form video though doesn't translate as well. It's a smaller percentage of my subscribers that watch the long form, but that's okay with me because I still have fun doing what I'm doing. If I would tell you my favorite though, I do have a lot of fun on Instagram. Even though I have the least amount of followers on there, it's really not about the followers. It's more about that's where I can express myself, photography, video, reels, stories, interacting with people. I really do enjoy being on Instagram.
You've done quite a bit of content for the Funko NFTs. I wanted to bring that up a little bit. You've done the Harry Potter drop. There is the Nickelodeon. Of course, you actually got to open up what would have been, I think, the first ever Mythic pack. You also, along the way, have got to collab with Drop and Funko to kind of present all these and show an early look, including actually today as we were recording this, you got to show off the Festival of Fun Series 1 set. What is it like to collab with, of course, Funko and Drop?
It's great. I do want to say the Nickelodeon, you mentioned the Nickelodeon set, and you also mentioned the Mythic pack. Those were out of my wallet. I was not working with Funko when I bought those and I opened them myself. The Mythic, I actually have a friend who really, really wanted a Mythic. He said, "Hey, I'm on drop. My wife is on drop. My friend is on drop." He goes, "I'm just trying to get a Mythic pack. I really want it." And I said, "I'll try for you, and if I get it, I'll just sell it to you for what it's worth." And somehow I log in and I get a Mythic immediately. And I was like, "Hey man, I have good news, but you owe me like $150 now, but I have good news." So me pulling that Mythic was completely by surprise. But anyways, back to working with Drop. Yeah, Harry Potter, I announced that drop that was the first time I worked with Funko on a professional scale. That was January of 2024. It's fantastic. I love Funko. I got to announce Harry Potter. I got to announce the Series 1 Warner Brothers horror, or maybe it was Series 2, one of the horror WB horrors. I got to announce Rick and Morty, and I got to announce Stranger Things, and I just got to announce Festival of Fun. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think Funko is great, and I have since working with them virtually, like online, I've met a lot of the team like at New York Comic Con. I got to meet them. I met them at an event in Kansas City. I owe so much to Funko, and I to be able to work with them on a professional level is just like a dream come true. You know what I mean?
So I know you're obviously a big fan of Nickelodeon. Your like logo is basically based off of Nickelodeon. So I wanted to ask you a certain scenario. Let's say Drop and Funko are going to plan to do a Nickelodeon Series 3 set, and they got to ask you one redeemable you would like to see in that set. What would you want that one redeemable to be in a Series 3 Nickelodeon Funko NFT set if it were to happen?
Ooh, now you've really got me thinking of some Nickelodeon. If they hadn't just released that whole wave of SpongeBob pops, I would have said Doodle Bob. That's what I would have said. But since we got that already, first thing that comes to mind is I'd love to see something from Chalk Zone. Rudy to Booty. I don't know if you remember Chalk Zone. It was an Oh Yeah short that got turned into a full-length series, just like Fairly Odd Parents, actually. I think something Chalk Zone related would be awesome.
One Funko product that I noticed that you've been a big fan of and showed a lot of on the channel, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people gravitated towards, is Blockbuster Rewinds.
Ooh.
Now, honestly, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the Blockbuster Rewinds. What makes Rewinds as enjoyable or even maybe more enjoyable than Funko sodas, perhaps, because of course a lot of people are mentioning like, oh, it's basically a carbon copy of the Funko soda.
You know, I've said this before. I actually said this on another podcast a few weeks back. I think the rewinds would have been more popular if they followed the model of sodas, one, in the design sculpt of the physical figure, and two, if they were limited piece count. I think that'd be great. I grew up with these VHS cases. I love the packaging. I think they're easier to display than the soda cans are. I like how they slide in. They look just like a miniature version of a real VHS clamshell.
Mhm.
And for me, that's what I like. My wife and I have just together had so much fun opening them and doing like the chase roulette, trying to see if we pull a chase. It's just another thing where you're looking for a chase and it's so much fun. But yeah, the I prefer them over sodas really because of that packaging. And real
Mhm.
quick before the next question, I want to say back to the Nickelodeon question from the last one. XJ9, My Life as a Teenage Robot. That's one I want to see in a Funko Pop. That one I need XJ9 Funko Pop.
Continuing on with like Blockbuster Rewind. So
Yes.
this is one of those another like scenario questions, and I actually brought this up in actually a video that I like just recorded, but it hasn't released. But when this podcast released, it would already release. Let's say the roles were reversed. Let's say in 2020, Blockbuster Rewind was the product that got released, and Funko Soda is the brand new product that came out now. Do you think people would say the same thing as they are now with rewinds? Or do you think perhaps they'll be like, oh, we were never really a fan, and then, oh, here's an upgrade?
Now, if we're truly reversing it, and like I said, if there was a limited piece count, I do think they had the potential to be as successful as sodas if it was 2020 and if there was a limited piece count. If they were exactly as they are, I think people are still going to complain about the shape of the figure and people are not going to like that there's no limited piece count.
So now we'll move over to the fan questions. There were a couple that were sent throughout social media. So we already covered the first one near the beginning, but the next one comes from Peter over on Instagram. What is your favorite Funko Pops in your collection?
I really like the older 2013, 2014 model now, which is ironic because what got me into them was that they were changing that mold and now I really like them. And I would always say the like 2013 thing with
Mhm.
the stocky hand arms on side body has always been one of my favorites. And then also there's a 2015 Funko Shop exclusive Jungle Batman, which is really funny. He has the cowl and then like a Tarzan outfit on.
Next question comes from Cartoon Fox Guy on Instagram. If you could only Funko Pop juggle one line of Funko Pops, which would it be?
Oh, CFG. I would I would juggle the Pixar Cars Pops.
Josh Stevenson over on Facebook. Would you challenge Fish, of course referring to K-Dog and Fish, to a rematch to become the best Funko Pop juggler in North America?
No, I respect Fish is my sensei, Fish is my master splinter, and you never challenge the master. You are just eager to learn whatever you can.
And then the last question that was sent actually came from a person we talked about a little earlier, Mason from whatsPOPincraze. He asked, if you had a
Ooh.
channel not dedicated to collectibles, what would it be?
I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I probably wouldn't. Maybe movies. I do love talking about movies a lot. However, I'm also a little hesitant because I know how divisive people can get over opinions about movies. So sometimes I withhold my opinions because I just want to enjoy what I enjoy and let that be it.
So now we'll move on. I have a couple of games for you.
Okay.
So this one I usually play with my guests. It's basically the Funko Pop equivalent to the game Kiss, Marry, Kill, but it's called Keep, Sell, Destroy. So I'm going to
Ooh.
list off three Funko products, and you have to decide between the three which one you're keeping, which one you're selling, and which one you're destroying, however you decide to destroy.
Keep, sell, destroy. I can do this.
Okay, so the first category is Blockbuster Rewinds. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the Funko Shop exclusive, Shaggy from San Diego Comic-Con, and then the Superhero Freddy, which I believe was also San Diego Comic-Con, Keep, Sell,
I,
Destroy.
I have all of those, and this is really easy. I'm going to keep Shaggy because I have the chance of that Captain Cutler chase. I'm going to sell Stay Puffed because I have the chase, and it's probably worth a little bit of money, and I'll destroy the Freddy.
Next category is Marvel, and this is for
Okay.
Pops now, not Blockbuster Rewind. I don't even remember. Have they done a Blockbuster Rewind Marvel? I don't even remember.
Not yet. Not yet.
Uh,
They probably would have to find a way to make it a bobblehead.
OG Ghost Rider,
Okay.
OG Doctor Doom, and OG Wolverine.
I'm keeping Wolverine. I will sell Doctor Doom because it's skyrocketing right now with that Robert Downey Jr. announcement, and I
Yeah.
will get rid of that ugly Ghost Rider. I will light that one on fire.
Yeah. Next category is SpongeBob SquarePants. All three of these pops are from the brand new set that came out
Okay.
this year in 2024. So, of course, we got Doodle Bob, Hot Topic exclusive Mocking SpongeBob, and then the Krusty Krab Pizza SpongeBob.
Oh, wow. Uh, I'll keep Doodle Bob because I don't have it yet. I will destroy the Krusty Krab pizza and I will sell the Mocking SpongeBob.
An all Nickelodeon category. I thought this was a perfect
Okay.
one to end off this game. First one technically is Three Pops, which is the Fairly Odd Parents 3-pack from San Diego Comic Con, Jimmy Neutron that released this year, and
Hmm.
then the New York Comic Con exclusive Danny Phantom. That was
Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay. The only one I don't have in my collection is Fairly Odd Parents. So I'd probably keep that one. I think it's pretty neat. Nope, nope. I changed my answer. I'm going to keep Danny Phantom. I'm going to keep Danny Phantom. I'm going to sell the Fairly Odd Parents because I'm not a big fan of multi-packs. I don't really know how to display them, which means I'm destroying Jimmy Neutron, unfortunately. And I'll probably send him on a roller coaster into outer space.
all right, and then the last game that we have here is actually one that we aren't actually going to be playing with the other guests. So you're the only one that actually gets to play this game throughout this
Woo!
podcast. It's called Say Five, Stay Alive. This is the scenario. Sidekick Ink. HQ, also known as your house, is up in flames. You get everyone in your household out of there, but you have just enough time to save five Funko Pops or items, because you might want to save a rewind, and then the
Okay.
rest burn to the ground. Which ones do you save? Which are the five Funko items you save?
Well, first is Guido, the forklift from Pixar's Cars. The second is the Funko April Fool's egg because it's an egg. Third is got to be probably Ray Fillet from the TMNT movie. I don't know why, but I just saw it right now. Fourth, I'm probably gonna go with Captain Cutler out of my Scooby Doo collection, and fifth, probably going to be Pac-Man.
Yeah, and that actually concludes this part of the podcast. So thank you so much, CJ, once again for joining here. Hope that potentially I do get to meet you next year at Niagara Falls Comic Con 2025 if you're going.
That would be great. And it was also nice meeting you. I hope to see you at Niagara Falls 2025. It's in May, right? I think it's coming up in May. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
All right, so the second guest of this podcast has over 3,500 followers across social media between Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, I still like that name better, and TikTok, has almost 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's a husband, a father, and the craziest son of fill in the blanks right there. When it comes to the Funko NFTs, some people know him as Harry, but everybody knows him as whatsPOPincraze. Welcome to a Funko podcast.
What's poppin'? Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it, man.
I think this is now what, the second time you're a part of this channel? Because the first time was that tier maker video, right?
Yeah, at that time you didn't really see me, but we were just talking about our favorite sets, I think, and we were having a little battle. I had different opinions on some, but hey, we came up with a list together. That was fun.
One of the big reasons I wanted to bring you on the podcast is, of course, to discuss lots about the wonderful world that is the Pop Digital lineup, aka the Funko NFTs. Of course, both of our channels, we do lots of Funko NFT content.
I'm sorry I got you into that, by the way, because I know how addicting it could get sometimes. I mean, you can see it by me. Sometimes I just can't stop ripping. I honestly might not even get any packs for the next one because I don't know if you heard, but Beetlejuice, I
Yeah,
was just
I'm
ripping
I'm
and
gonna kind
ripping.
of get into a little bit of that later on in the pod with one of my questions. How'd you begin collecting pops?
I was collecting Disney pins, and I don't know if you ever heard of Disney Vinymations. Maybe not, maybe. They're like little figures of different Disney characters. They had like Mickey Mouse ears. Every single character had Mickey
Mhm.
Mouse ears. I went to a Disney store and I saw the Lion King Funko Pop set, which is this guy right here with Scar and the original set, Scar, Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba. And I was like, I need these. I love the Lion King. So I bought them. And then after that, I got curious. I looked at what other Funko Pops exist, and I just started buying here and there more Disney ones. I got the Wally and Eve. I bought the original Beauty and the Beast set. I don't even remember. I bought so many. I started with those, and then I ended up having like 100. And I'm like, oh my God, this is getting a little ridiculous. And then out of nowhere, I got to 200. But then I got laid off my job back in that time. So I actually got rid of almost everything except for like Lion King and a couple others. And then once I got a new job, I got back into it. And that was like right when Funko was really starting to pop off. That was in like 2016, 17 era. I started at the right time because once I started getting back into it again in 2018, 2019, Funko was just going crazy. And then COVID happened, the quarantine and all that, 2020. That's when Funko really kicked it off. My collection's at almost 3,000 or more now. So
I guess you might have already elaborated on this, but one of the fan questions that were sent in came in from Peter over on Instagram is, what are your favorite pops from your collection?
it's definitely a Lion King set. My current favorite is Hakuna Matata moment with Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa on the log. That's my all-time favorite.
So you've been doing the Funko NFT videos since basically day one. You even did a video about that very first TMNT drop, August of
Yeah,
2021.
I
What
did.
made you decide to get into the Funko NFTs? And were there any hesitations? Because of course you're now dealing with cryptocurrency, which I feel like with most people, even I feel like maybe even me at first, just kind of seemed like a little bit of a sketchy thing to get into.
Obviously, the main thing that really caught my attention was the fact that one, it's something brand new. Two, it was a limited edition pieces. So that's what really caught my attention. And of course, I love the idea of how it's like opening NFT digital packs. And obviously, you have digital collectibles technically, even though a lot of people don't really like the digital side of it. They all like the physical aspect.
Do you also find that it was also another way to stand out as a Funko content creator?
So I definitely did notice like that's what really got me to views at first because if you look back at my channel, I mean obviously now too I'm a really small channel compared to like people like TopPops for example. He has millions of subscribers. I don't even have 10,000 yet, but if you look at like my NFT videos, they usually get decent views. So I know that's what most people are enjoying from my channel. That wasn't really necessarily my goal, but it was something I was enjoying. And I was like, you know what? I feel like people will like to see someone opening a bunch of packs because a lot of people probably don't want to buy them themselves. I know, especially now, a lot of people just buy the redeemables they wanted after they learned how it all works. And honestly, it really is the safest way to go with it, especially if it's something you want. Because usually when they're in physical form, they have more value.
So what goes into the decision of how many packs you open up for a video? Because of course, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, maybe even 30, which already like here on my channel, it's basically like maybe four premium packs at most,
Yeah.
or when it came to Back to the Future, I believe it was like eight with the help of my co-host. But then I guess in this scenario is where I'm going to go with is what makes you wake up in the morning and decide one day, you know what, today I'm going to open up 52 premium packs, which I'm referring to, I believe that's the amount of packs you opened up for Stranger Things Series 1 last year.
I usually factor in what the redeemables are, and then I look at the secondary market prices. Like Harry Potter, for example, I didn't rip as many as I would have, because the packs prices were just going up and up
Mhm.
slowly. Same thing with Back to the Future, actually. That was another set that had a burn, just like Harry Potter. And somehow both of those sets in the same year are some of the best performing. I'm sure you've seen the values on George, Lorraine, Griff.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the
There.
pricing on
Yeah.
the Marty Grail. So it's
Yeah.
I'm glad that that actually came out, if I remember correctly. It was from a pack my
Mhm.
co-host
Yeah.
purchased for me, and it was a standard. Besides that one time, I don't think I've ever done that. It's always been like my better luck is on premiums.
And that's the thing that I noticed both of us, we don't really do standards often. And it's not because standards don't have luck. Obviously they do. It's all randomized. Premium standards really doesn't matter. I've ripped a premium and got no epics before, no redeemables before. It's just how it goes sometimes. But I just like the fact that it's not ending quick. With a standard, it's like 5 cards, boom, you're done. Next pack.
Mhm.
But premiums are like, all right, I still got more cards. All right, let's see something in there. But sometimes you just don't.
So back to the whole 52 premium packs of Stranger Things. Do you think at some point that maybe that record will be broken? Like, let's say if, from what I last remember, is like your dream set. If a SpongeBob Series 1 came out, do you think that
Mhm.
record be broken where we may see more than 52 premium packs be open?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially if it's redeemables I want. Honestly, I've been hoping for a set of SpongeBob in their superhero outfits.
So earlier this year, you had the opportunity to work with Drop and Funko on
Mhm.
opening packs for, I believe it was Fantastic Plastic Series 2,
Yeah.
correct? So how did that opportunity happen?
So they reached out to me. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Instagram or email, but when they reached out, I was like, there's no way. Like, I've met a couple of the Drop team members too. I think I met two of them at San Diego Comic Con. Really great people, really great team. It was a pleasure working with them with Fantastic Plastic. They sent me a couple packs. I think I gave one away too.
Is the goal for you when it comes to the Funko NFTs to basically control the market? Because with a lot of these
Uh-huh.
NFT drops, you're getting more than one master set. And of course, this is where we bring up about Beetlejuice because I had to
Mm.
take the screenshot and get the current count of
Oh
how
man.
many redeemables that you have for this set. And who knows, you might even have more for all I know. You have a total of 65 royalties, 80 grails, and 184 legendaries. My guy, you have almost a tenth of the grails.
Let me start by saying the main reason this all happened with Beetlejuice, the gold one of one card was still out there to be collected. I had this feeling in me. I'm like, I'm pulling this card. I know I will. So I kept buying packs. I kept ripping and ripping. I kept pulling grails. I mean, if you look at Pop and Sock, you can see how many packs I've ripped. Trust me, you don't want to see. It's just, I never thought I'd rip that many. I made trades. I traded redeemables for packs. I traded physical pops for packs. So I didn't buy all these packs, in case anyone's wondering. I wanted that one of one. I know it doesn't really have utility. My buddy Ali.DP, he's Warlock. I'm sure some of you have heard of him if you know about Funko NFTs. He's a big pack ripper guy, a good friend of mine. He pulled the silver from a pack. I traded him. I was like, hey, bro, I'm going to pull this gold. We're both going to own a one of one from the same set. But it didn't happen. Just yesterday, I decided, let me take a break. Let pack prices go down. Some guy bought 2 standards and he ripped them and pulled the gold of one. 2 standards. That's all he ripped in the Beetlejuice set, and he pulled it. Another way to answer your question, I have this mystery boxes I'm trying to launch next year. So it's gonna be just Pop Digital exclusive mystery boxes. That's my main goal. What I'm gonna do with all my inventory. So I have my first one currently available on my Instagram.
So recently we had a set of leaks for what may be coming out in 2025. And actually, Diss Trackers name dropped you. Some of them that were mentioned were quite a bit of Series 2 sets like Harry Potter, D&D,
Mhm.
Retro Toys. There's even some surprising Series 3 like Transformers, and of course, April Fools, which I felt was inevitable. Some Series 1 sets that are in the works. It's looking like Bob's Burgers, Supernatural, and of course, I feel like the one that everyone is talking about is Marvel Series 1.
I don't know if you know about Gasolcast. I'm sure you've heard of them. But I shared with them as well. And I think I also shared with this track. After that leaked list, there was also another Discord leak that shared how many redeemables were in each set.
Was actually
And
going to bring that up also because I seen
yeah.
that exact video from Gasolcast. One of the videos I was trying to do predictions, and I'm like, where can I go for Transformers? It's Gasolcast because Chris
Yeah.
just TFs hard.
If you look at the Marvel set, it's going to be the biggest redeemable set we've ever seen. That kind of worries me because, you know, the Disney sets have all had an insane amount of packs. they've all had really high numbers. Outside of Disney, I think the highest they've ever had was DC Series 2.
DC Series 2 was a total of 100,000, fifty
Yeah.
thousand for standard and premium. I remember that. And
So,
yeah, so when you brought up about like I'm sure you were just gonna get it, so I'm kind of like interrupting, but I do want
no,
to
you're
bring
good.
up about how, if I'm not mistaken, from what I remember, is that the total number of redeemables for Marvel is supposedly going to be nine, which
Yeah.
already there's seven as the most between, I believe it would be Harry Potter got seven,
Uh-huh.
and I think the Funimation and Funkoween drops from this year had seven. So already a lot of these sets, like with seven, they may not sell. Like Harry Potter didn't sell it, but of course that's a huge enough IP. And I guess Marvel would be a huge IP, but it also depends, like, are they going to go the route of like just classic Marvels, or are they going to base it off of like MCU specific moments? But yeah, I do think that with nine redeemables, we could see the return of like 100,000 packs in total.
Obviously, the leaks are not confirmed, but that's the same leaker that we've seen from the past, which have all pretty much been accurate. I do think the Marvel set, it all depends on what they're gonna do. If they do like original MCU, not the new stuff, I think I'm all for it. I'll go in crazy. But at the same time, they've done so many Marvel pops already, so it has to be something really special for me to be like, okay, this is cool. I want
Yeah, and like I mentioned, nine is just such a weird high number
it
for
is.
redeemables. It almost makes me think like, are we going to see just like TMNT Series 2 double grails?
What I'm kind of worried about with Marvel is seeing deluxe pops or something that you connect to each other. Obviously, it's not going to be just those. I'm sure they have some surprises for us, which I'm
Mhm.
hoping SpongeBob might, join in, or just Nickelodeon Series 3. I love Nickelodeon, so I
One
think
year late for
yeah,
25th anniversary, but let's just do SpongeBob
I
now.
know. Dude, if they do SpongeBob, I can't even like imagine how many options they have.
I'm excited about the surprises because so far, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely the biggest fan of
Uh-huh.
what is being rumored. The only thing I'm kind of excited about for the most part, obviously April Fools. It's inevitable that we're gonna get Funkoween again. I want to see if they actually do pull out because we've actually mentioned it on our videos of like predicting redeemables. If for D&D they do give us Freddy Funko inside of a gelatinous cube, and it may be
Oh,
one of the coolest royalties ever if that happens. And
for sure.
so now we're going to end off by playing a game. So I'm going to be playing this with all of my guests throughout this podcast. So this game is pretty much the Funko equivalent, I'm going to call it, of the game Kiss, Marry, Kill, but I call it Keep, Sell, Destroy. So I'm going to list off three Funko Pops, and between these three Funko Pops, you got to figure out which one you're keeping, which one you're selling, and which one you're destroying, however you feel like destroying it. I've specifically made these categories, five of them, being from all five different redeemable rarities this year for the Funko NFTs.
All right, let's do it. This is
All
fun.
right, so number one is the ultra rarity. So first up is the Scooby-Doo in Disguise from Scooby-Doo Series 2, the glow-in-the-dark and metallic Xenomorph from Alien Series 1, and Two-Face from Batman 85th Series 2, Keep, Sell, or Destroy.
I'll destroy Two Face for sure.
Ooh.
Keep, sell. I have a bunch of Scooby-Doo pops. I'll sell that one and I'll keep Xenomorph. It looks cool. I don't have any Xenomorphs and it's a glow-in-the-dark metallic. No question. Keeping that one.
Next up is Royalty. The glow-in-the-dark Freddy Funko as Amazing Carlos from Fantastic Plastic Series 2, Freddy Funko with Chest Burster from Alien Series 1, and then Freddy Funko as Henry Creel 001 from Stranger Things Series 2.
Destroy the Henry Creel. I will keep the alien one and I will sell Freddy as Carlos.
Legendaries. Lola Bunny from Space Jam Series 1, the Burning Pack from April Fool's Series 2, and the Accordion Monkey from Warner Brothers Horror Series 2. There's a lot of legendaries to go through, so I was like, oh, which ones do I choose for
That's a
this?
good mix. That's a good little mix. I'll burn the burning pack just because I think that would be fun, and I'll actually burn it while I destroy it. Lola Bunny, I will sell, and I'll keep the accordion monkey.
Next category is Grail. So the Black Knight from Scooby-Doo Series 2, the Leo and Mikey from TMNT Series 2, and the Magician's Assistant from Beetlejuice Series 1.
Dang. Okay, that's good. That's a good mix. I'm keeping the Black Knight. First pop. I have all the Scooby Doo villains. I need that in my collection. I'll burn Leo and Mikey, and I'll sell the magician's assistant.
Because you already have 80 of them, right?
Exactly.
And then last category is Mythic, which it's easy for this category because there's
Yeah.
only been three Mythic Pops as of the recording of this podcast. That being the 10-inch Battle Mech Freddy from Funimation Cosplay Series 1, Freddy and Franny 2-pack from Funkoween Series 2, and of course the 10-inch Proto as Nutcracker for Festival of Fun Series 1 set.
I will keep the Mecha Freddy. It's a glow in the dark. It looks awesome. We have yet to receive it. I know one person has gotten it and they received the damage. I will burn the 2-pack. I like the Proto. I think it's fun because I have the 3-pack of the Freddy's, but I'll just sell that one.
All right, so I guess that is the end of this portion of the podcast. And of course, coming up next here on the podcast is, of course, Tristan from TopPops. So stay tuned for that. And once again, Harry, thank you for joining us here on the very last edition of a Funko Popcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and I appreciate your time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction. Tristan from TopPops, he's back. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
You were originally on a Funko Popcast. I think it
Yes.
was, oh wow, almost 5 years ago, because it was just as the pandemic was beginning. We had you
Yeah, that
on.
sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and MD was on here too, but unfortunately he couldn't join us. So I didn't really want to bring up a lot of what we talked about in that podcast, especially like the early days of how you started collecting, which anyone who wants to tune into that previous podcast, you can definitely find out those answers on that specific podcast back on episode 37. And this is now episode 250.
Crazy.
Crazy how many episodes we've done. But I wanted to bring up some of the stats that we had presented during that episode, but then comparing it to what you've grown to now. So originally you had 60,000 followers across social media and on Instagram, Twitter, or now known as X, and TikTok. Now that number is 470,000.
Wow.
The amount of views you had on your channel was 50 million at the time. Now it's 630 million. And then the big thing to talk about, you originally had 210,000 subscribers on the channel when you were last on the podcast. Now that's just over 3 million.
It's crazy.
What do you think contributed to the success you've gained in the last 5 years or so?
It's kind of crazy because it's such a long time ago. So to have that difference in the last time because we chat a good amount back and forth. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun to see us growing, both of us really, through that 5 years, how it's gone. But I think for the channel, one of the main things, and you've probably seen it as well, is with short form content. It's so much easier for anybody who maybe doesn't, because before that you had to look up whatever you were interested in. But now with shorts and stuff and reels and TikToks, you can just scroll through it and maybe you bump into an interest you didn't even know you had. So I think a lot of people found a lot of, Funko content through the shorts and reels and TikToks just kind of randomly popping up all of a sudden, which I think has been a huge help.
And then speaking of YouTube Shorts, which of course is the equivalent to TikTok posting 60-second clips, or now I believe with the recent update, you can do up to 3 minutes for
Yes.
YouTube Shorts. Do you prefer the long form content that you've been doing for a while, or do you now prefer shorts in a way?
I think that they're totally different things when I'm making videos. I will make a lot more I don't know, I like to do it recently. I don't know if you've seen them where we play a lot more games for shorts. We'll do see how many names you can do for Marvel characters, or can you guess it based on just its eyes or the feet? I can't really do that for a full-length video. It's a little bit tougher to kind of really stretch that out. So I think it's been fun to kind of come up with these bit of a smaller idea that I would still really enjoy and maybe couldn't do before, but can now make them in this kind of I almost said biddy video. I'm thinking of biddy pops in my head there. Yeah, I think that they're both very different. I love, of course, doing the longer hunts, going out, doing the longer, 20 to 30 minute videos sometimes. I think I really do enjoy shorts, but it's a toss up. It depends on which one I'm doing, what type of content I'm doing it for. Do you have a preference? I feel like you guys do a lot too.
We've been doing a lot of both. I think lately it's been MD has been mainly the shorts guy, I feel. And I've been more of the long form guy, which works out good because I feel like a lot of times whenever we'll film a long form content, it's a little bit difficult for him to stretch out the amount of minutes for a video that maybe YouTube requires for certain videos.
Sure.
So for shorts, it's easier on him.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer long form, and I think he would be more of the shorts form. So I think that's how it's been working lately on the channel.
Cool. I mean, it's fun. Yeah, I really do enjoy it. I remember there was this ones that you guys were doing where you would throw out a random figure and then rank it I really like
Mhm.
those ones.
So the last 5 years, there's been a lot of different new products besides pops. Of course, when we had the podcast, I believe sodas were only existing for like 2 months. I think Emerald
Oh
City
wow.
Comic Con was like 2 months prior or something, and that was when we had like the Batman ones and the Scott Pilgrim ones that first came out. Of course, there's been Blockbuster Rewinds, biddies like you mentioned, and even the Funko NFTs have been a pretty big thing. What has been your favorite products?
Sure. It's a bit of a cheaty answer. I like the Bitty Pops. I think those are really fun, but also not just the regular ones, like not just the Harry Potter ones, whatever. I happen to have some next to me here, but not just like the new Harry Potter set or whatever. I think it's more like I enjoy what they've been doing with them, where you'll get like almost like an exclusive character or a little house, and of course they've done Pop Towns before, but they're doing different ones that they've never done before. And also, I think my favorite one out of all of them is by putting them inside of normal Pops, doing the bitty bots, the robot
Mm.
versions of them. Those have been really fun. I've been waiting for mine to come in. I pre-ordered them over at GameStop, and I think they said they were going to be coming in later this month. And I'm really excited about
Mm.
checking those out in person. So I think a lot of the bitty stuff I've really been enjoying. And I'm hoping that next year, I hope you agree with me on this one because I think it's pretty cool. They do an advent calendar. I would love a bitty advent calendar. I think that'd be a
Mm.
lot of fun. I don't know what set they would do, but I'm sure they could throw together a Star Wars or a Marvel or something. I think that'd be cool.
So speaking of the new products, I brought up NFTs, and I felt like I would bring that up with you a little bit because I also
Mhm.
discussed it with the two previous guests on this specific podcast. You've done quite a bit of NFT videos as of late with like, let's say, I believe you did the Batman 85th Series 2 set. You've got
Yeah.
to obviously collab with Drop in Funko on giving some previews of certain drops. What do you think have been the best and worst drops of this particular year?
Sure. I don't. Now, here's the thing. When I say best and worst, I honestly think that they're just like the lower tier. I don't think they're bad. It's hard to explain because, like, I really enjoy when Funko makes like their specific like Freddy lines, like the ones that they do for Halloween. But
Hmm.
when they do one, because now don't get me wrong, I bought a lot of these packs to try to get Charlie from it, but the Always Sunny in Philadelphia ones, I think that I noticed that they didn't sell out, which was the thing that I was thinking about. And I think it's because you have to be a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Then you
Hmm.
have to be willing to put some money into the packs to try to get the pops. Another one that I really enjoyed, I don't remember if it was this year. Was Space Jam this
Yep,
year?
that was
That
in
was this year.
February, I believe it was, if
Because I
memory
really
serves.
enjoyed that set. That one was a lot of fun. I have most of the characters from it. Like it was pretty cool. So like that kind of thing I enjoy. But sometimes when they get a little too niche with it being like a specific show and it doesn't sell out, I'm kind of like, oh, it would have been neat if we had something else here. But like not that it was a bad set, just
Yeah, I think it all depends, yeah, on how big of a fan you are of that certain fandom and
Mhm.
how many packs. Because I think the
Yes.
problem with It's Always Sunny was that it was nearly 20,000 packs, and that's why it didn't
Right.
sell out. I also think a contribution to what could not sell out for that is like when it's being released. Because I think that Stranger Things Series 2 could have sold out if it wasn't released the same week as the New York Comic Con exclusives. Everyone's so focused
Yes.
on the NYCC pops coming out. It's like, why would I want to put money on the NFTs right now when I can go buy pops that I technically am guaranteed getting for the most part?
Right. Yeah. No, I get that for sure. It is a little unfortunate because I think that they both have so many drops going on all the time that some of them they're gonna have to sacrifice being on the same week as like another big drop that of course Funko's doing, like you
Yeah,
said.
and that's also a thing. I don't think I've brought them up on one of my videos, but the whole emailing thing, when Funko and Drop will send out the email of what's coming up, I feel like
Mhm.
that now ruins the surprise of like what's coming next. And it's like if you buy that and then now you know in advance what it is. So if let's say, for example, it was the same month as Stranger Things, there was that drop, G.I. Joe, and the Funko Ween. Everyone goes all over Funko Ween every single year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like maybe they should just like you mentioned announce them one at a time because the other ones that people are finding a little bit more interesting are overshadowing the regular sets that are
Yeah.
kind of just releasing. Like I wonder if they just said G.I. Joe. I personally didn't buy any of the packs, but I might have bought them if I didn't know that Funko Ween was coming soon.
So now we're going to move over to the first set of fan questions. The first question isn't really a question, but I thought I would throw it in because I thought it was hilarious. This came from Sidekick Ink, of course. He was the guest on the podcast earlier on, and he just
Hey.
simply said, "Hi, Top Pops."
Oh, hi CJ. I'm specifically saying hi to him, nobody else. So if anybody else is watching right now, seeing me say hi, it's just CJ. Hi, hi, hi.
Now, the first official question comes from
Okay.
Wooly19, with the E being a three. What should Funko do to ensure they continue to be a desired collectible?
Ooh, well, we kind of talked about it a little bit here with us talking about the digital pops and stuff. I think if they make less numbers of every single one of them and make it so every drop is special. I think that's what needs to happen here. Like, for example, I don't know if you watched the Game Awards recently. They had the Astrobot one that as soon as they won, they had it available on their website. To me, that feels special. Also, with the one that they did recently for Saturday Night Live, they did Domingo. I
Mhm.
think that one, again, feels special. There's something about just being like, it's in the coming soon section on Funko's website, and you really got to dig to find it. I don't find that to be so desirable unless it's like a really cool character. Like for example, I don't know if they posted. This is the thing. I'm not sure if they posted about the new Dragon Ball set. They might have, but it's just one of those ones that kind of for me flew under the radar a little bit because it might have been one Instagram post and that was it. But like for some of these other ones, they're almost like, at the hype of it being, oh, Astrobot just won, let's say. Now they're making this figure and they're like, congratulations. It's like a really cool kind of like little mini event that they're doing. So I think if they can make it so, and I know they make so many of them, so it'd be hard to do for every single figure. But if they could do it so like every drop had this little like mini, check this out, look at how cool this is, instead of it just being like, oh, it's on the website, you can buy it if you want to. Also, maybe limiting the numbers a little bit more. Like, for
Mhm.
example, doing the Astrobot one to, let's say, 10,000 because it's the 10th year of the Game Awards. Something
Mhm.
like that.
Next question comes from Peter, and he asks, "What is your favorite Funko Pop in your collection?"
Ooh. It kind of changes. It varies a lot. I used to always say Atom Bomb from Garbage Pail Kids just because it was one of those ones that was just so weird when it came out, and I've just like stuck with it for years. But I think more recently, and I don't know where they are exactly, but the new Jurassic World ones, where they're the fossil versions,
Oh,
I
okay.
have loved those ones because they just don't really look like pops. They just look like a cool fossil, that you can have in your collection. If you're a fan of dinosaurs, even take it out of the box, and it looks like a completely normal character.
It reminds me of like way back in the day of like you used to be able to get those like I guess bricks and you can chisel out your fossil
Yes,
pieces. So
I used to
that
have
gives
some of
me
those.
those vibes. Yeah. Next question comes from JJ on Instagram. He asks, "What is your favorite memory of getting a Funko Pop?"
Ooh, I don't know. There's so many good ones. Like there was a time when Mike Becker actually at Comic-Con was nice enough to just be like, "Hey, come with me. We're going to the booth and we're picking out a few figures." That was a lot of fun. But I think the one that I always go back to is my 9-inch Buzz Lightyear because my grandpa was able to gift it to me for Christmas.
Mhm.
Like it was just like such a weird character that I didn't think I would ever have, and then we found it for a good deal. He said he would get it for me. And so like just having that I think is a really cool thing to have. Also, now that I'm thinking of this one right now, when you guys made a custom figure of my grandpa in a train, that was really cool too. I know that
Mhm.
you guys have a whole video about that. Like, I don't know. As soon as I said it, I then remembered I was like, wait a second, because I looked over at it and right next to it is the train one. So just that kind of thing I think is always really cool. But yeah, like for like an official Funko Pop, we'll go with the Buzz Lightyear. I think that one's really fun.
Next question comes from Cartoon Fox Guy on Instagram. He says, "What is your favorite anime pop line?"
I don't know. I don't actually watch that much anime. I'm ripping the bandage off right now. I haven't seen any more of My Hero Academia, and I've been pretending like I have, and I haven't. So I'm just letting people know now. I'm still only on season 2.5 or something like that. I'm just letting people know. I've been kind of like, oh yeah, My Hero. I know who this is, and I don't know who this is. I mean, I've seen the characters, of course, but like I've never seen like it's just I haven't been able to watch in a while. I think though, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, when that set came out, that is an anime that me and a couple friends watched completely together. So that was really fun, and I think I'd probably have to go with that one.
Next question comes from Funko Frank YT. I recognize that name. I believe he sent in a question for CJ also. He asks,
Oh, did he?
any,
He's pretty funny. He's got a YouTube channel.
and he says, any advice for my Funko Pop YouTube channel?
Well, funny you say that, actually. I've seen some of Frank's videos and they're pretty good. I would say find something that you enjoy. Like I find that even if you're just gonna make, let's say, Funko videos, because his name is Funko Frank, and you're able to find your favorite thing that Funko makes, because they make so many things. I feel like if you're, for example, a WWE fan or a Pixar fan, or did I just name two things that I just thought of? I didn't mean to do that, but I know you like WWE and Toy Story, and I just happened to do that back to back there. But like stuff like that though, where you can almost be like a Funko focused channel, but then dive in a little bit more in depth with the things that you really enjoy. And then also kind of like tie in some other stuff to go along with it. So for like a good example, like I said with Pixar, if you're a big fan of Toy Story, show off all the Toy Story ones, you looking for the Toy Story stuff, talking about the new movie coming out, and then you can also be like, oh, but while I was at the store, I also found this other Toy Story thing that I really enjoy, and you kind of mix it all together to kind of keep it a little bit more a niche is the best way that I can say it. I feel like if you're too broad, sometimes you don't know what you're talking about. And I have this problem sometimes where like people are like, show off this, show off that. And then I try, and then I get something wrong, and they're like, what do you mean you didn't know about this? I'm like, well, you told me to talk about it. So if you find something that you really enjoy and then really dig into it and go deep, I think people will kind of resonate with that. Because if you enjoy it and you enjoy making the content, I'm sure other people will enjoy watching it.
So the next question comes from both Dean is Weird and Chris Schneider 951 because they had the exact same question is
Okay.
how much is the entirety of your Funko Pop collection?
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. I actually have no clue. But what I will tell you is I have, let me think about this here. There are 18 shelves down here. Each shelf holds 150 figures. So I don't know what the math is on that. If you want to even just do it at like somewhat retail or go a little higher because I paid more for some of them. It's something around there. I don't know the number though exactly. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. And then it's also like, what are they worth now versus what I paid for them? And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't pay for them because like, like you go to fun days or whatever things, they have giveaways and stuff. So I don't know. But if you want to do the math on whatever that is, you can kind of get a rough estimate. I actually, like I said, I have no clue.
And then the last question for this portion of the fan questions comes from Billy Murphy 14. He asks, what do you think is the most rare pop of all time?
Well, I wonder. Now, people say that it's the Alex DeLarge or the two-pack of them, the Willy Wonka and Oompa Loompa. But I have a feeling that there's something out there that we have no clue about. Like maybe Brian Mariotti has it, Mike Becker has it. I don't know. But it's like, it was like a test thing that they did. It never got out to the public. Maybe it was a license they never got to like actually share with people, but they were able to make like some sort of prototype of it. That's what I'm thinking. I remember hearing a long, long time ago that there was some other like 18-inch pops that never got released. And I don't remember which ones it was. It was like maybe like I don't even want to throw a name out there because I don't remember. It might have been like a Disney character or something. But I have a feeling that there's a bunch of that kind of thing at the office that are like tucked away that you can't even see. That's just like, it was never meant to happen. Like, for example, good example of this, Tony Hawk. I remember when they did like a behind the scenes video, they had the older version of Tony Hawk and more like what he looks like now, but he switched it to being the younger version. So I wonder if there's a Tony Hawk prototype out there that nobody's seen, just that image is there. I don't know. I have a feeling that there could be something rarer than just those ones that we've already seen before.
Yeah, I think my go-to answer would have been the Willy Wonka two-pack because
Mm,
I think it was like 10 pieces. The last sale was like
yeah,
$250,000. Or like technically, do we want to count that? Like, I guess it's considered a prototype, but like the fun of one redeemable you got if you pulled the
that's
card from the
true.
NFT.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about those ones. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like there's like this one of one stuff that I don't know how many of like those there are. It's definitely up there. I remember they tried to sell it for like what, $70,000 on eBay or something.
It was I could have sworn I seen someone tried it like for more than what the two pack is worth,
Oh
which is
wow.
crazy for basically what looks to be a DIY prototype. But
Yeah, yeah, but I guess
it's
it's if you have the whole box and everything to go along with it, it's got a cool special
yeah.
story too. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I wanted to talk about the day in the life of Top Pops when it comes to filming content, especially like as a content creator myself. What goes into, let's say you wake up in the morning and then you think, okay, I got to plan for this video. How much research is done? And when it comes to how many videos you do you do like, let's say, one video a day that's prepped for tomorrow? And then that's basically repeated, or are there days also like maybe you feel like, oh, I'm kind of getting exhausted. Maybe I'll do like, and I've been doing this quite frequently, which is why I'm asking is bulk recordings where I'll
Hmm.
record multiple videos in a day, possibly even edit multiple videos. Is there days like maybe, yeah, you want to, you might already have some videos planned and you'll just get them over and done with. So that way, maybe you'll have one day to yourself where it's like, you know what, I'll just relax. I'll, shred Fortnite or whatever.
For the most part, because my days do consist of making videos, I find that I like the routine of doing I film like later at night. Usually I'll like sit down and just do like my sit down bit of the video. But
Mhm.
then in the morning the next day I will edit it for that day. And sometimes you'll notice that the videos come out a little bit later and it's because it
Mhm.
maybe took too long or there was just like a problem with like exporting something, which happened the other day. It was so annoying. The only time I think I'll bulk record is like if I'm going like to Comic-Con or something, or if I know I'm
Mhm.
going like on a trip somewhere, just in case I can't make a video for that next day because we just flew there or something, I'll get like 2 or 3 days ahead usually, which is nice now with shorts because I usually do like 2 or 3 regular videos, a short, 2 videos a short, it kind of, it's easier to kind of mix those in and I can be ahead on shorts for sure.
Yeah, shorts. Yeah, you can easily do shorts, like multiple of them in a day.
Hmm.
Even for MD and I, what we've actually been doing is recording an entire month's of YouTube shorts in one single day and then getting them edited throughout. Because then it also makes it easier because then you get time to do the long form throughout the weeks and stuff. So
It's
that's
funny you
been
say that
good.
actually, because sorry to cut you off there, but I was talking
No
to
worries.
Rye, the pop guy, and he was saying that like some days he'll message me or I'll talk to him or whatever, and he'll be like, just to let you know, I'm like, what day is it today? He'll be like, oh, it's the first of the month. I'm done until the 18th. And he does a short every day sometimes. And I'm like, oh, you're 18 days ahead right now. He goes, yeah, I got nothing to do for a bit. So then he's just got to like come up with some stuff where he'll make like a full length video in the middle of that or whatever. But it's just so funny to see how far ahead you can get with shorts. And like you said too, getting like a month ahead is pretty crazy.
YouTubers Pick My Pops. It's been a pretty successful series, 4 episodes. What goes into figuring out which YouTubers or content creators you're choosing for those videos? Is it like, look, I see this person is trending. I see maybe this person I kind of want, but he's not trending.
When it comes to those videos, it's a little bit different. It's more so because I'll tell you, I message a lot of people for those videos. I don't realize how, you probably wouldn't realize how hard it is to get a hold of some people. Like, I think for YouTubers Pick Up My Pops 3, I messaged, I think, 40 or 50 content creators. Just being like, hey, would you want to do this video? And some of them are very nice and write back right away. But then there are others where it's like, your inbox is probably so flooded, they don't even see the message, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think of like some people that I wrote to that I would love to have on the series, but I never got back to, or they never got back to me. Like there's some interesting ones. Like I tried doing, and this is a fun one for you. I'll do some here, and I'll tell you who wrote back. I tried doing a cartoon characters pick up my Funko Pops, and I was gonna have a bunch of voice actors come on. For example, like just to throw it out here, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody who I have behind me here, like the voice of, let's say, Crash Bandicoot was going to be on, and he would do like, hey, see if you can find the new Crash Bandicoot figure. And I wrote to a bunch of animation ones, so like, Pinky and the Brain, who's voiced by, I'm trying to think here, Rob Paulson, I believe it is. He voices one of them. But anyways, I wrote to Jim Cummings, Tara Strong. I wrote to, I think, Kellen Goff, the voice of Freddy Fazbear. Like, I just picked out like a bunch of people, and I was like, let's just send these off and see what happens. And I got 2 messages back. I got one from Tara Strong. It was her manager, and he was talking about how she's working on getting her social media presence up a little bit, and if you'd like to do something at Comic-Con, but it just didn't work out because we weren't going to any conventions. And then I found out after she was at New York Comic-Con and I was there, and I should have said something, but I didn't know. I didn't know
Oh.
till after. And then the other one was Jim Cummings had written back, or somebody for Jim Cummings had written back. They were asking like, I was like, it's like a, you pick up my pops, you would tell me which one to go look for. And then he had written back and said something about, or the guy, it wasn't, I don't think it was Jim Cummings, but whoever it was had written back and said, so like, which figures would Jim Cummings be getting? And I was like, oh, it was just like, you were just like supposed to like pick one out for me to go look for. And then I was like, I could send you something if you want to. And then they just never wrote back. And then so it was fine. It was all good. I just think it was like, a bit of a miscommunication on my part. But that is a video
Okay.
that I would still love to do in the future. And I'll be honest, I don't think I even answered your question. The whole point of it is like, whenever I do these, it's always like if I'm friends with the person, or if maybe they've watched my videos, or I watch their videos and I really enjoy them. So, like, for example, with the Rizzler, if this is one of the ones that you were thinking about, I had messaged him because I was like, this would be fun. I knew he liked Funko Pops because he had shown them off in some videos and being like, Dad, can I get this one? And he goes, put it back, like one of those jokey ones. So I messaged him, and it was his dad that wrote back, and he was like, oh, he's a big fan of the videos. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. So he was like, do you want to do something? And I was like, yeah, if you could just get him to like pick up whatever. And the video he sent in was just like so perfect. I was like, I'm like, thank you so much. This is amazing. I also sent him like a t-shirt and stuff because I didn't know he watched the videos. I'm like, this is cool. So like, it was just very nice of him to help out for that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Speaking of featuring people in videos, you still feature obviously friends of yours when you can. Like recently, you had Luca and Cora for the pumpkin carving video, which I still wish you would have done the Eddie Funko carving for yours
I
instead of
know it
Jack
was way too
Skellington.
complicated. It was too hard.
And then from time to time, you still bring on Libby, who we talked about quite a bit on the last podcast that you were on. And then, of course, there's also Nate. But I wanted to ask on behalf of like the OG fans that watch your videos, what happened to Kenny?
Kenny. Kenny's great. I haven't talked to Kenny in a while though. Kenny is one of those people where I'll see him every once in a while and I'll say hi to him and it's always a great conversation. Like it's one of those things. I remember a little while ago he had messaged me saying that he was selling some of his music pops because he used to have every single Rocks Pop
Hmm.
from one all the way up to I think it was like 100 something at the time. And so when we did that video with him, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I just think the problem was Funko was making way too many Rocks ones.
Yeah.
So I think it maybe deterred him a little bit. I don't want to speak for Kenny, you know what I mean? Because I don't know for sure. But I just remember him mentioning that like he just started to not like a lot of the music ones, so he stopped doing more Funko stuff. And then I just kind of, slowed down. I still chat with him every once in a while though. But yeah, nothing for videos as of recently. Maybe I should see what he's up to and see if we can do a video. That'd be fun.
Funko Pop hunting in the USA. That's what I wanted to bring up because
Sure.
recently, after so long, I have finally applied for my passport. What is the difference, in your opinion, of pop hunting pre-pandemic and post-pandemic in the US? Because, of course, there was
Sure.
obviously the period that you couldn't go Funko Pop hunting in the States, but then, of course, obviously things changed or must have changed after everything opened right back up.
I find that here in Canada, we actually get stuff a little bit faster sometimes than the States does. Like, we get a lot of the Funko Shop exclusives over at GameStop now, and sometimes they're not even available to purchase on the website yet, or they just released. Like, of course, going to Target, you'll get the Target exclusives faster. You'll get some of the Walmart ones faster. Mind you, they don't have very many Walmart ones anymore. But like sometimes if you go, you might catch a good drop. I feel like if you go to the States, you'll notice that there's like probably about a 2 week difference on the figures you'll find. Like I
Mhm.
just recently at GameStop here in Canada found the Alphaba and Galinda two pack when they first get to the school, the one that was normally exclusive to Target, and you could have found that maybe like right when the movie released, so a few weeks ago. So
Mhm.
I find that it's like you get stuff a little bit later, but sometimes it's easier to find because not as many people are like jumping on it right away. So in a way, Canada's a bit better in that way that you can find stuff, but also like you get way more in the States. Going to Target, there's a full section of stuff, and it's always cool to check them out. They just have like a cool display too. I know they have like a big Biddy Pop display now where you can see them out of box. They've got a little like rides and stuff. But yeah, if you go GameStop to GameStop, you'll notice a difference by a few weeks too.
The Pop Plus and Pop Premiums. What are your opinions on that? Because they seem like it's just a normal deluxe, but they wanted to add a couple of dollars on.
With those ones there, it's funny you ask that because I actually just got the two Predator ones in the other day. And I did notice, in their defense, I did notice the figures looked a lot nicer. There was a lot more detail on them. So I think that they are actually putting more into them than you would think. Because like looking at like I don't even know. I wish I had the original Predator down here with me. But like they're cool, don't get me wrong, and they were years ago, but I do think that there is more detail. Now, at first I was kind of like especially with the Britney Spears one, I was like this is just a regular character but she's sitting at a desk and they've
Mhm.
done that before. But as they've come up with more of them and I saw that Beetlejuice is going to be a Pop Plus 2 where he's sitting on top of the gravestone, it seems like they're adding a lot more detail to them, which is great. I think that's a cool way to do especially if you don't want to make the figure a bigger size, and I feel like that's what they would have done in the past where they would have like made him slightly larger in size and then put him into a bigger box so then they could charge more. But the plus is nice because then you don't have to worry about having this larger bulky box, but you still get that extra bit of detail. So
Mhm.
I think there's some ups and downs to it, but there's more pluses than there are negatives, I think.
All right, so now we're going to go on to the second set of fan questions, which I forgot to mention during the first part. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions for Tristan. And this next question is sent in by Frankie Love Taze, in which they ask, do you ever have a problem at customs when you order something from the Funko shop?
No, I don't think they do. I think when you order something through Funko.com, they have it automatically put into their whatever you buy. Like because when you buy it, it says shipping and import fees, and I believe that covers it. I've never had a problem. Mind you, I've never made an order big enough that it might need one. I usually just buy like a figure here and there, like whatever's new. But I believe it's built into it, so you shouldn't have to pay once it gets to you.
Next question's from Joe is Friend, in which he asks, what are your top five shows?
Shows. Ooh, I don't know if I've seen enough shows like more recently to actually like count it. Like I feel like a lot of them are like I guess we'll just go shows in general that I've enjoyed overall because I really like The Office. The Office is a huge one for me. I'm a big fan of The Office. But also like a lot of the ones that I enjoy are just like easy things that I can put on, just like randomly. So like Bob's Burgers is up there. I've always really enjoyed like just Family Guy is an easy one to throw on. I don't know, it's tough. Like I've seen almost every episode of Happy Days just because it's on TV and I'll just
Mhm.
like have the TV on, like that kind of thing. I don't really know if I have a top five though. Like I'm trying to like think of like I'm looking around a bit here, like maybe like Fraggle Rock is one that I used to watch all the time when I was younger, like that kind of thing. Also, SpongeBob is a big one.
Next one comes from Peter, who I believe also sent in a question earlier. He asked, do you have any NBA Funko Pops in your collection?
Yeah, I've got a few. I have a few of the my brother's a big Pelicans fan, so I have a few Zion ones. I've got Shaq, I've got LeBron, I have Michael Jordan. I like a lot of the more well, I don't know. They make so many of them. I have more of the well-known guys. I have a lot more of a what I'm trying to get at here is I have a surface level collection of NBA ones. But I do have some of the NBA mascots.
Next question comes in from the front man of 2025. He asks, what Pokemon that they haven't made into a Funko Pop yet would you like to see?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Just off the top of my head, like Snorlax comes to mind. He'd be a great one. Actually, I talked about these in a video the other day where I was trying to like predict what I thought was going to be coming out for next year. And I said Blastoise and Venusaur. I don't know why they haven't made them yet. They're just like a gimme in my opinion. And then it'd be so cool to have like a 3-pack where you could have the Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. I think those three would look really great together. I think if we could do like maybe a Dragonair or a Dratini, those would be really fun. Like do the whole evolution line. I feel like just taking a lot of the ones that they have already, but continuing the evolution would be perfect.
Next, I love this question so much, actually. So this comes from my good buddy, Robbie Diltz. He asks, when are DK and TopPops going to have a 1v1 on Fortnite?
1v1 on Fortnite. Oh, I'm not that good. I'm a pretty big melee fan, and it just gets I get beat by any gun that's like a little too far away from me. Like I've been really enjoying the katanas this season. I've been liking those a lot. Those have been great. And then I've also like, for example, in other seasons, I really like the nitro fists and
Oh,
like
yeah.
whenever they have something cool like in that realm. And then there was some good melee. Did you played the Marvel season, right? The more recent one recently?
Yeah, with like Doctor
You know what the
Doom.
melee was in that? I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something.
Oh,
There was a good one in it.
it wasn't like a Doom Fist, because I think that would have been like a mythic one that you got from
Yeah.
Doom after you
But there
beat
was
him. I
something that
can't
I remember
remember.
getting, and I was like, this
I
is really
remember at
good.
one point they had like, it's not Thor's hammer, but it was like a hammer that you got to like,
Yes. Yeah, I
you
remember
get to
that
throw
one.
yourself across the map with.
But anyways, yeah, a lot of the melee stuff I enjoy. So if you're good with a gun, I don't think it would go over well. I don't think I would do very good with it.
STBN13 underscore MX underscore CA. Oh, these complicated Instagram names. It's almost like a two-part question. Can you give something, and are you still pursuing photography? That's the way the question was sent.
Can I give something and am I still so maybe I'll give a photography tip. I don't do much photography. Like the main thing I do for photography would be like if I want to take a photo of a cool Funko Pop that I have and I put them in like a nice setting or whatever. I don't like go out and like, take pictures of people or nature or anything. It's not really my realm. The main thing I do is like thumbnail photos every day for videos. And I feel like you might be in the same boat for this one where it's like a lot of like you probably have the most photos of yourself if you think of it that way. Because like
Yeah.
just like I have this thing that I send to people if we're doing a video called The Many Faces of TopPops, where it's like about 50 photos that I've taken over years or whatever, and I just throw them to people. I'll be like, if you need a photo for like if we do a collaboration together, I just toss them this giant folder of photos of myself, which is so weird to do on like any other. It doesn't really make sense for any other job to have like 60 photos of yourself, but it's like me happy, me angry, me annoyed, me just surprised. It's just like it's everything. Some people and a couple friends have been getting into photography recently, like near me or whatever. So I was like, if you want to do photography, start small. Use your phone, whatever you have around you. And then if you're really enjoying it and you're like, I just wish I had a little bit more quality to it, or I just wish I could, do like a little bit more depth of field or whatever. You can do a lot of it on your phone, but I know you can't do everything. So then you kind of slowly upgrade to having a better lens, better camera, better whatever it is. It's for a lot of hobbies. Start small and then slowly like build your way up with it.
Next question comes from Josiah the VA, in which he asks, what is your favorite character to play as in Funko Fusion?
Ooh, Dilophosaurus. It's always been the Dilophosaurus. And as soon as I unlocked him, I'm like, this is my guy because there's two things. First off, I love the character. I think it's a fun one. We talked about fossils earlier. They have the fossil version of the Dilophosaurus now in the game. But also, he's just faster than everybody else. Like, they gotta add some more quick characters because I feel like I'm only using him the amount that I am, even though I really enjoy him, because he's faster. So, like, when I'm playing through a level, it just feels kind of slower, which is fine, but sometimes like I'm playing through the level again because it's on multiplayer or whatever, and I'm just trying to collect all the fun coins to like unlock all the skins. So it's like you need that bit of speed so you can just speed through it a little bit faster than you normally would. So I think the Dilophosaurus is it's definitely up there.
And then the last question was sent in by our good friends over at K-Dog and Fish. They asked, what is your favorite con to visit?
Huh. See, this is tough because some of them are just so big you can't see everything. And that goes for New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. I'm trying to think what else I've been to. I've been to C2E2, Niagara Falls, of course, which we have the booth at every year. Also like Toronto Fan Expo. Actually, you know what? I think Fan Expo is my favorite. And I know this is kind of crazy, but the reason I like Fan Expo so much is it's not a flight away. It's close enough that it's just like a fun trip. You can go for one or every day if you want to. Funko did go the 1 year. I wish they would go again, but I just like the size of it. Where like I can walk up and down every aisle. I can see everything. I can take my time with it. I don't have to be like, oh shoot, I didn't even know. Like this happened at, I think it was San Diego. I didn't even know Pop Mart had a booth at that Comic Con, at San Diego Comic Con. And then after I found out that everybody was going to it making videos, and I was like, well, I wish I went because we don't have any Pop Mart stores near us. So it'd be like really cool to like just check it out in person. And I completely missed it. So stuff like that I think would be really nice. But anyways, the point is, I think Fan Expo. I like Fan Expo. It's a good size.
So the one big final question from me, I want to discuss about the future of the Top Pops channel. And I'm asking about this because as terms of the future of Funko, Funko has made some questionable decisions over the last couple of years. Like let's say the Buckeye Warehouse incident with the $15 NFTs, the landfill, some of those price increases that keep happening. And then earlier this year, I've been open about this on my channel about creating a second channel, which luckily enough, it's now monetized and everything, and I did that so quickly, surprisingly. But I made that as kind of a wake-up call in case somehow, some way, there is something that ends up happening to Funko to where I can no longer do content about Funko.
Sure.
Has there ever been a thought once you started seeing these kinds of news happen? Like, I don't think anytime soon we're going to be seeing like CBC News reports Funko files for bankruptcy and stuff like that. But has there ever been a thought of like the backup plan for the channel?
I haven't really thought about it too much, but I do, and you may have seen it recently on the channel. I enjoy just mixing in other hobbies that I have with my videos and me collecting normally. Like, for example, recently, do I have any on the table here I could show you? I had these food ones. They're made by, what's the company here? I gotta find this out here. I think it is Super Impulse, and they just have like a bunch of like mini foods and stuff like that. It's kind of like mini brands, but they make like toys as well. And I really do enjoy making those random videos every once in a while. It kind of breaks up the let's do a video on Funko every day, which I don't mind doing, of course. But there are sometimes things that catch my eye and I'm like just really passionate about it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go get a bunch of those today. And like, I don't even care if the video does amazing. I just think it's fun to go like check them out. So I've done it with mini brands. I've done it with those. I think, you know what it is now that I'm realizing this? I just like smaller items when the same item is tiny. I don't know what it is about them, but they're really fun to like be like, oh, look, it works. And it's the size of my pinky finger or whatever. So I'm sure if anything with Funko happened, I would just continue to do more collectibles and toys, just less of the pops because they probably wouldn't be making them if they weren't doing anything. But if they, as long as they're going, I'll be making stuff. And I don't think that'll be anytime soon, like you said.
All right, so we're going to play a couple of games, with the first one actually being the same game that we had played the last time that you were on, called Keep, Sell, Destroy, where I list off 3 pops and you have to decide which one you're keeping, which one you're selling, which one you're destroying. So I got 4 rounds of this game, and then it will be 4 rounds of another game that we'll play. So we'll start off, obviously, with Keep, Sell, Destroy. With the first licensor for Pops, I would bring up, we just talked about it a bit ago, it's Fortnite. So the 3 Pops I have listed here, Peely, Tomato Head, and Skull Trooper. Keep, Sell, Destroy.
Keep, Sell, Destroy. Keeping Peely, 100%. Got to keep Peely. I'm going to sell Tomato Head. And then I'm going to destroy. This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to destroy them. I think just because, like, here's the thing. Neither of them are in the collection anymore, and I think I like Tomato Head more, so maybe I could buy him back if I don't destroy him. I think
you said that. Tomato Head's my, like, main skin that I use on Fortnite. So
I'm a big fan of Peely. There's a few that I'm missing because, they were before I started playing, but I've got most of the ones. At least I'm up to date with what I could purchase anyway.
Next one is Toy Story. OG Buzz Lightyear. OG Lotso, not the flocked version from D23, just the regular one. And Emperor Zurg. Keep, Sell, Destroy.
So that is the original Emperor Zurg?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking Lightyear, maybe. I didn't think you'd throw him in there, though. Well, Buzz I've got to keep for sure. I'm going to destroy Zurg and sell Lotso. That one's easy for me. Zurg, he's okay. I do wish they made a new version of him like they did with the Lotso. But yeah, I think that's a good list.
Next category is Funko Fusion.
Ooh.
So the Funko Shop exclusive Mecha Freddy. Then it's the Funko Shop exclusive Eddie Funko. And
Hmm.
then the recently released Funko Shop exclusive Cosmic Freddy. Keep, sell, destroy.
Cosmic Mecha and Eddie. I think I'm gonna be keeping the Cosmic Freddy. That one is too good. It might even be a pop of the year. It's just really nice. Now, when it comes to these Mecha and Eddies, I think now are we basing this off of personality here? Because if so, I could destroy Eddie Funko pretty quickly here. I think I'm gonna do. Yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna keep it in that order. I'm gonna sell Mecha Freddy and I'm gonna destroy Eddie Funko. I think that's a reasonable. I think it's reasonable.
And then the last category for this game is McDonald's Funko Pops.
Ooh.
New York Comic Con exclusive Captain Crook, the
Okay.
Funko Shop exclusive Speedy, and then the New York Comic Con exclusive McNugget with pails.
Okay, for this one, I'm gonna keep the McNugget with pails. That one's really fun. I like the pails. I think the pails are pretty fun. I said fun there twice. I'm then going to sell Speedy, and then we're gonna have to destroy Captain Crook, just because I feel like he's one of the lower mascots. Speedy's the original. You gotta keep him around. The McNugget with pails, though, I think it's just such a fun one. It's got some good detail to it.
And then the next game is actually something you kind of brought up, which is blind ranking Funko Pops, the
Oh,
type
okay.
of shorts that we do here on the channel. So
Sure.
I got four different categories, and you're going to be listing off Funko Pops without knowing what's coming next.
Okay.
And first one, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, so first pop I'm listing off Walmart exclusive Balloon Boy.
Okay, so Balloon Boy, right off the bat, he's got this problem where the balloon tips down a lot. So he's a bit awkward that way. Also, Balloon Boy's just like a funny character in general. And I'm sure there's gonna be better ones coming. So I'm gonna put him at a 3.
Hot Topic exclusive Sun and Moon.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a high. I would put that top for sure. Let's go. There could be something better. I'm gonna go 2 though. I'm gonna put him at 2.
The Twisted Wolf.
5. 5.
Hot Topic exclusive Withered Golden Freddy.
So I have 4 and I have 1 available. I'm going 1
Mhm.
on this one.
And the final pop, the San Diego Comic Con 2016 Golden Freddy.
You know what? I'm okay with that because I think the thing is, the old one is nostalgic. People like it, but I think the new one looks way better.
Next category is Disney Series 1, based off of the
Ooh.
video series of trying to complete that first set. There they are, right in the background there. So first
Okay.
pop, Jiminy Cricket.
You know what? I'm really quickly going to look over at these ones to see what else is in the set while I'm doing this here. Jiminy Cricket. You know what? He's a good one, but there's definitely better Jiminy's. I'm gonna go 4. Putting him at a 4.
Maleficent.
Hmm. See, the thing with her is she's still around. You can sometimes find her for like not too expensive. Honestly, I'm gonna throw it at a 5. Going 5 on that one.
Mickey Mouse.
See, I like that original Mickey, but there's definitely better Mickeys. I'm gonna go. So have I done 4 and 5 so far? I'm gonna go 2. I'm gonna go 2 at that one.
Sully.
Sully is a good one. See, the problem is I'm afraid that you're gonna do something tricky at the end there, but I like Sully. I'm looking here. I'm gonna have to go Sully at number 1, and you can throw me the Buzz Lightyear next, and I'll put him at number 3 if that's what you're doing here. I'm just guessing.
And the final pop, Cruella de Vil.
Oh, okay. No, it's different than what I thought you were gonna do. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with her at a 3. I think Mickey and Sully being above her is totally cool.
And kind of continuing the trend of Disney, specifically Pixar is the next category. New York Comic Con exclusive Kit and Doggy from the shorts.
I like that one. I've seen the short before, but I don't like, it's not one of those ones that I really resonate with. You know what I mean? I've seen it maybe once. It's a great short, but I haven't watched it a bunch like I have with some of the other ones. I'm gonna have to go with on this one. I'm gonna go 3. I like him, but I think 3.
OG Carl from Up.
I like Carl as a character, but the figure's okay. The new Carls look nicer. I'm gonna put him at a 4.
The Funko Shop exclusive flocked socks from Lightyear.
Lightyear in general is one of those ones where like I enjoyed the movie. I know a lot of other people probably didn't for whatever reason, whether it being just like, this wouldn't be what Buzz actually was or whatever. I like flocked ones. I like socks, but I think I'm gonna have to go 5 on this one because I feel like there's something better coming.
Anxiety from Inside Out 2.
Oh, okay. So I have 1 and 2 available right now. Anxiety is a good pop. It's a cool figure. There's a lot of great detail on her. I don't know what's going to be 2, but I wouldn't probably be mad with 1 or 2 on it. I'm going to go 1 just because I don't know what you got next, but I feel like it can't be, it's similar. Number 1 and 2 is kind of whatever.
And the final pop, the Woody with RC rides from Toy Story.
Um, I would have put him in one, but I'll put him in two. Maybe I should have put anxiety at two. Yeah. I think out of that list, I would have just swapped those two. But otherwise, I'm okay with it.
In the last category, it's ad icons in general. Amazon exclusive flocked Toucan Sam. So it's the newer one that released.
Where he's flying.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, yeah. That's a great figure. I'm gonna sit him at two. We're putting him at two right away.
Grimace from McDonald's.
Just the regular one?
Yep.
You know, now that we're talking about Grimace, they should make a flocked one. I'm gonna put him at four.
The Funko Shop exclusive Julius Pringle from Pringles.
Is that just the, oh, it's just the regular version of him, right? Like he's just standing there with the Pringles can, I think,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. Three. It's a good one, but I feel like there's something worse or better coming. I probably get, okay.
Mr. Peanut from Planters Peanuts.
I feel like this is gonna have to be a five, and then you're gonna give me like Baby Nut for number one or something. This is gonna be awful. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go five.
And the final pop, the San Diego Comic-Con 2016 Big Boy.
I'll take it as one. That is a good one. Is that the one of him with the burger in his hand?
That's the one you've mentioned for years that is eluding your ad icons collection.
I will take that. Yeah, it's one of those ones that I've kind of actually forgot about because I'm like, you know what, I'm never going to get it. I just totally was like, eh. And then as soon as you mentioned it, I'm like, you know what? It's a good figure. I will take that as a number one. Yeah.
All right, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the very last episode of a Funko Popcast. And of course, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And of course, like always, thank you, Tristan, for joining us here on the final podcast. And thank you, everyone, for joining here for the final episode of a Funko Popcast. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.